This video isn't going to be one of those crappy camera accessory videos where I'm like, hey, buy this bottle rocket or even buy this bag. Let's be honest, that's pretty much every single camera accessory video in existence. Until now. In this video, I'm going to be giving you a little insight into my brain and the 6 camera accessories that I've bought and some of them actually created, which have pretty much become a way of life for me as a photographer or videographer. The majority of these are pretty much inexpensive, and for some of them, it's not just about the accessories themselves, but the way I actually use them, which changes the way things work. Some of these accessories may already be known to you, but I'm hoping at some point in the next few minutes, there's a little light bulb moment to make you be able to go away and think that video was worth it. So let's not delay any longer. Ever since I bought a camera, I've had memory card wallets and cases very similar to these. The flappy ones, I guess you could say, which open up and hide the card inside. And I love them, they look great. I made this one during lockdown and it served me so well. But one day my business partner sent me a link to one on Amazon for a memory card wallet, which it cost barely anything. And looking at it, I was like, no, it's not for me, not a chance. And after a few days of it going round in my head, I'll just cut to the chase. It's awesome. But how can a memory card case be awesome? This thing can hold 20 SD cards and 20 micro SD cards all at the same time. Overall, more than enough for most people. But it's not the actual case that makes it so special, it's about how it's laid out inside. You can open it up and see all your memory cards at a glance to make sure you're not missing any, and you can position the memory cards upside down, back to front, however you wish. So when I'm storing them and they're ready to be used, I leave the memory cards exactly as you see them now. But once I've used one, it's been in my camera and it's ready to be backed up, I put it back in the case and I flip it round so you see the rear of the card. So when I'm in a rush and I'm needing to swap out my memory cards, I know what's being used and what hasn't been used, just so I don't accidentally pick up the wrong one and format it. But I've actually gone one step further because they're displayed in rows. And any of the client work that I do, especially the weddings, I'm always dual recording onto 2 cards. So when the memory cards go back in here, I make sure that they're in pairs, stacked above each other. So for instance, pair 1, pair 2, pair 3, pair 4, and so on and so forth. Now you've probably noticed the numbers on all of the memory cards. Well, this is the second little accessory borderline hack. Oh, I hate using that word, hack. Disgusting. And it's something I'd recommend to anybody who has a large amount of memory cards like I have. About a year ago, I was chatting to some wedding photographers and videographers. Experienced, seasoned professionals, may I add. And they said what they do is grab a piece of A4 paper, and as they use their memory cards, they write down what their memory cards were used for and sellotape the memory cards to the piece of paper. That piece of paper then goes into their camera bag, and that's how they know what they need to sort out when they get home and back everything up. I'm not going to lie, when they told me that, it physically made me want to throw up. Who the fuck does that? I'm sorry. No. If you're one of them people, be ashamed of yourselves. I've had people put memory cards into little tablet or medication boxes and then label everything up. And that, for me, is just way too much hassle. So if you're one of them people, listen up, because I've got a better solution. I got a bunch of numbered stickers off Amazon, and then I stuck a unique number on every single one of my memory cards. Then for every project that I do where I'm having to use more than one memory card, I go onto my phone, I write out a little note, I write down what it's being used for, what camera is it going in, and the number of the actual memory card or memory cards. So if I use a bunch of memory cards for that project or over the space of a couple of weeks being away, when I get back to my laptop, I know exactly what memory cards I've used and where I've used them. And then once I've backed everything up, them memory cards go back into the case the right way round, ready for circulation again. And this is something that me and Tim, my business partner, has adopted for the entirety of the wedding business. For every camera, we use 2 memory cards at a time, and we have a WhatsApp chat between the 2 of us to be able to write down these memory card numbers that we're using as we use them. So at the end of the day, when we have to take everything home, we know exactly how to distribute the cards, so we all have a backup of what we need from the day. And at any point we get a little confused, we can refer back to the WhatsApp chat to clear things up. We've even gone as far as labeling up the Rode Wireless Goes because we have 6 of these in the business, and sometimes all 6 are being used at the same time. It's the simple things like that that just makes things easier after a long day. It's not groundbreaking, but if you pair up the numbered memory cards alongside the case to put them in, you have a pretty good storage solution whilst you're out working. Now, whilst we're on the topic of weddings and client work, let me introduce you to my good friend, Johnny. Johnny is one of many of its kind, and we've had these things sticking around for at least the last 4 years. And more recently on social media, I've seen more people adopting this style of thing. So what on earth is it? It's simply a piece of elastic which has been stitched together. And this can hold microphones like the Rode Wireless Go or the DJI mic. Then when I'm wanting to capture the sound of someone speaking at an event, most of the time they're going to be using a handheld microphone. So I can easily attach these two things together and slip that over the handheld microphone, and no matter where that handheld microphone goes, whoever speaks into it, I'll be able to capture clearly. This means I don't have to deal with any sound engineers, I don't have to plug into any PA system, I don't have to rely on somebody else providing me a clean signal. It just allows me to have one of these as close to the person speaking at all times. As I say, I've made these a while ago for myself, however, I may stick a few on my website. If you find them useful, you can pick one up if you wish. The offer's there. And if you want to make yourself one, then please feel free, steal the design, do as you wish. Number 4, not a UV filter, but a filter that is constantly in my camera bag anytime I leave the house. This filter will add saturation to your image. It reduces the glare, it reduces reflections, it makes your sky look blue, your grass look green. If I could afford to have one of these filters dedicated to every single lens that I own, I would. This is a circular polarizing filter, and I've done a whole video about circular polarizing filters, which I'll leave a link to up here. However, if you're a portrait photographer, a landscape photographer, if you take photos of motorbikes or cars, one of these things will do you the world of good. I have the Polar Pro circular polarizing filter at 82mm, and if I have to use this with any of my lenses which aren't 82mm, I just use a step-up ring. But as far as the brand is concerned, almost any circular polarizing filter will do the job for you. Some of them may be slightly better than others, but if you're just branching out into using filters, I wouldn't worry about that too much. Some of the CPL filters that I've used in the past do change the color temperature ever so slightly, but at the end of the day, you should be setting your color temperature after you've applied the filter, because that's good practice. In my opinion, CPL filters are easily the most overlooked filter in the industry. I'm not joking when I say this, it's the one filter I couldn't live without. Easily one of the best camera accessories I've ever bought. Whilst we're talking about filters, how many times have you got a filter stuck to the front of your lens? I have many times. And how many times have you taken a pair of pliers to the front of your filter to try and prise it off the front of your lens? I've done that more times than I actually feel comfortable with. Well, these are filter wrenches. And when you need to get your filter off but it's stuck onto the front of your lens, wrap this around it, squeeze and twist. These are coated in rubber and will apply even pressure around the filter and will get the most troublesome filters off your lens. They come in a variety of sizes. I decided to go for the one which I think covers 72 to 82mm. However, it will do 67mm quite easily. There's nothing really more to be said about them. I have one of these in every single camera bag. And finally, the only accessory, which is fairly expensive in this entire video, but this has made my busy schedule with all the projects and weddings much more manageable. No matter how prepared you are, you'll always find yourself having to charge batteries in between or during shoots. For instance, some of the weddings I've had over the last couple of years, I've got 3 or 4 weddings back to back. And with all the cameras, the drones, and the microphones that you're gonna be using, you're gonna have to be on top of the power situation. So I decided to buy a power bank. A fairly big power bank. This is the EcoFlow River 2 Max. And this will provide you with around 500 watts of power. You can plug things in using USB-A, USB-C, or 13 amp mains plugs for us in the UK. This will charge your phones, your camera batteries, your drones, your microphones, more times than you will ever need during a day or two. And you can even charge your MacBook Pro from the USB-C, because the USB-C is 100 watts. And when the power level gets a little low in that, you can recharge it in the hotel room or at home in the space of 60 minutes, or as long as you're in your car and it's turned on, you can charge it up in there as well. And EcoFlow aren't the only company who make power banks of that size. You've also got Jackery, Anker, and even DJI are now making them. And they pretty much do all the same thing, and you can get them with a lot more power capacity or a lot less. But be able to charge everything I have with me on a shoot, during the shoot, and after the shoot on the way home or going to the next one, it makes life a lot easier. So over to you guys. Do you have something which has really changed the way you work as a photographer or videographer? Is there an accessory out there that I don't know about yet? Let me know down in the comments. Now, if you got to this stage of the video and you want to know more about the CPL filter that I mentioned earlier, then watch this video right here. However, if you want to see the 5 accessories that I have bought over the last few years that I majorly regret buying, then watch this video right here. I'll see you soon.